Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I'm happy to present my celeriac puree or keto mashed potato recipe. The macronutrient ratio for this celeriac puree is 2.1 to 1 with 6.2 grams of total carbs, 0.6 grams of soluble fiber, and 0.6 grams of insoluble fiber, resulting in 5 grams of net carbs per serving. For this recipe, you will need only these few ingredients. The main ingredient is this rather unfortunate looking root vegetable. The first step is to peel it carefully so that you do not cut away too much of the white fleshy inside. It's a good idea to begin by cutting the top and bottom of the bulb, and then peel the outer skin and knobby parts of the celeriac bulb by carefully cutting down the sides close to the skin. Be sure not to waste too much of the flesh by cutting off thick skin layers. Today I'm using the celeriac root, or celery root as it's called in North America, because I find it to be a very versatile vegetable, and I've never featured it in a video before, even though we really like it. I believe that it will become a favorite of yours as well after you give it a try just once. The reason I like celeriac is because it's very easy to work with, and it's inexpensive, and it's quite easy to find. And celeriac has a really nice taste and texture. And when you try this recipe, you will see that it makes a really flavorful substitution that is close to the taste of traditional mashed potatoes. So now that you've completely removed the skin, cut the celeriac into equal sized cubes. Whatever size you choose doesn't matter. But make the cubes the same size because the same sized cubes will cook more evenly, meaning that all the cubes will take the same amount of time to cook to a tender state. Now that everything's cut up, place the cubes into a deep pot. To avoid discoloration, add enough cold water to cover the cubes. Add the salt and sweetener, and about half of the lemon juice you prepared. You're adding the lemon juice because celeriac discolors quite quickly when it's peeled and cubed, and the lemon juice will help to reduce discoloration and keep the cubes looking whiter, like mashed potatoes. Cook over medium-high heat and bring the water to a rapid boil. Cook until the cubes are very tender and you can insert and remove your fork very easily. Then drain the cooked celeriac into a colander that is in your sink and let it sit for a minute or two. This will allow the excess water to drain off as well. Next, place the drained cubes into a deep bowl. Add the melted butter or ghee, and for the vegan version, substitute with coconut oil. Add the rest of the lemon juice and heavy cream. And if you're making a vegan or Whole30 version, substitute the heavy cream with full-fat coconut cream. Then add the paprika, also add the olive oil, and toss well to coat. Now transfer the contents into a food processor blender. If you have a small blender or you're using a bullet, divide the content into appropriate sized batches. You should puree until the celeriac has a very creamy and smooth texture. If, however, you're still finding that the celeriac is too thick, add either 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream or 1 tablespoon of coconut cream at a time. Blend and repeat until the puree has a nice creamy texture, just like mashed potatoes. The last thing I want to do is to show you how to serve the celeriac puree in a way that will impress your family or guests. I took one of my metal rings that would hold about half a cup of celeriac puree, but I first greased the inside with olive oil. Then I spooned the puree so that it filled the inside of the metal ring. For presentation purposes, I smoothed the top with the back of my spoon, and then I gently lifted and removed the metal ring. Lastly, I decorated the top with a few cilantro leaves. You can serve this celeriac puree as a wonderful vegetable side dish. This keto mashed potato substitute can be served either hot or cold. Enjoy! As a preview, I want to mention that my next video will be a shepherd's pie, which, by the way, also uses the celeriac puree. And the adaptation is based on a traditional Irish shepherd's pie recipe, so it's going to be as authentic as I can possibly make it. I would really appreciate it if you would share this recipe with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll come back and see the next video. The link for the printable recipe is available in the description below.